or lower the chances 70% of somebody being inspected, then your life would basically become either very easy or completely impossible. But the people doing it would never even know. Well, sir, we're just sent here because the computer says we have to go here. So, why is this phone beeping all the time? Shut up. So, think about this some more and think about how data mining and this new form of policing go together, and you can create a system, even at least theoretically and I think practically. You can create a system where you can make people's lives impossible without ever involving humans that would have to do the actual dirty work.
Yeah, this automatic policing is what every policeman dreams about. So that there is no means to escape anymore, that there is no small crime that goes undetected, that all the little violations that basically make our life livable today are being prosecutable at one point. And so this is where we are heading. So we might be able to delay here and there, we might be able to win a battle here and there because somebody might see the light, but essentially this is the direction where we're going. And we are basically headed for new dark ages that will take some time, maybe only a few years, maybe a few decades, we don't know at this point. It essentially depends on how much fear can be put into the population without them waking up and without the elite that governs the countries thinking about, okay, is this the right way to do it? So why did we lose? That we won't elaborate too much on that thing because I think it's painfully obvious we had no plan B for a September 11 case. Simply, the very moment these planes crashed into the World Trade Center, we had already lost, so there was no way around that. So political lobbying alone was simply not enough against the full force of the security industrial complex that we are basically headed up against. The intelligence agencies and their commercial partners had their stuff together. The plans were already in the lockers, so the very moment this thing happened, they just needed to pull out the plans. This has been shown for basically every country on this planet that they had the plans already done. We had none, 0. So we focused on the technical problems of the surveillance infrastructure, sometimes saying, okay, this technology does not work, that technology does not work, stuff like that. This is simply not enough. This will not help us anymore. And we also did not really want it to be true. We did not really think about this could be the case, this could really happen. This is something that is not just science fiction, but could be our reality. We simply did not want it to be. So actually we were not prepared, we had no chance in that point, and so we lost. So, what now? When we think about the greater shape of things, the central point now is to maintain the breathing space in society, maintaining the ability to move, to change, to ask questions, to get answers, to know how things work, and not just for us, but for a lot of people. So there are quite a number of political groups out there, of environmental activists, of human rights activists, and so on, that are getting a broader base by the day because the violations of basic human rights are getting more obvious also by the day. So it is not only just anymore for third world dictatorships that it's required to help political activists, but it's already for our own countries. We need to help the people that make change in society possible because they don't understand technology the way we do, but they have the cause and they have the political, at least, ideas to do something. And it's not really important what we support there, as long as it's not some group that is aimed for totalitarianism or dictatorship. The real important thing is supporting change, supporting methods and breathing space for new ideas. So,
yeah. Shall I continue?
Yes.
We've sort of made a lot of chapters of things, of categories of things that we should do or thoughts that we had. Of course, there's many more things that you could do. we've sort of made a list of what we thought was important. One of the things is that we realize things have changed, meaning we have to change too. A lot of our mantras, a lot of the things that we know to be true, we have to very selectively look at again. As long as we knee-jerk react to everything that happens around us, as long as we think that we already know what to say in every case somebody makes a move, makes us vulnerable. If we aim too high, any retreat looks like we're losing. Around myself, I see lots of people fighting battles for human rights, for freedom of speech, and the fact that they haven't been able to win for the past 2 or 3 years, that every battle that they fight is lost, or at least a lot of the battles are lost, is demotivating people very quickly. So, given that activism has to be fun, or at least that's my personal view, and given that we have to fight these battles with a motivated group of people, we have to pick our battles very carefully. We have to pick them based on what is important, which battles do we think we can actually win, and do these battles actually matter in the bigger picture of things? We can't just go after everything. No more fundamentalism. We have to very carefully look who's behind us, who's not behind us.
So one thing, we had this nice video surveillance debate for this Congress, and where we basically had the same issue. Technology was faster than us. So cameras, were everywhere. When we just scroll back 5 years, we had an extremely tight photographing rule at the Congress. So basically everybody running around with the camera was basically nearly dead. And today, if I need to count the number of cameras that I have on me, I think I end up at 4 or something like that, counting all the telephones. And we probably have, on average, 1.5 cameras here in this room per person. So things have changed. Technology has overtaken our fundamentalist stance. And so that's one example of what we need to think about, what is really worth protecting, what is the information, what is the principle that we need to protect here, and can it really be protected given the advance of technology? So we need to pick our battles also within foresight and what is happening in technology development.
Very importantly is seek technical fixes instead of waiting for political fixes. This has always been a hacker mantra, but it's more important now than it's ever been. Don't ever think that you can trust your government with data if you can prevent them from having it in the first place. Don't ever think that as I said, this has always been true. It's always been one of our things, but it's more important today than it's ever been. We need to continue building tools that can be used by political movements everywhere to fight oppression. As Frank said, it's not just third world dictatorships anymore. This is our own countries. We need to build crypto. We need to build it fast. What did we mean here?
We have one thing that we have learned from the peer-to-peer groups, the file traders and wares traders. They are basically on the forefront of the battles that will be important to all of us, because they feel the full pressure of what is technological and political and legally possible today, meaning raids on the servers, people getting arrested for stuff that they have done online, stuff like that. So developing decentralized technology that has no real server that can be somehow obtained, or where a lot of people can be compromised, is something that is extremely important, as well as developing technology for anonymization that is ubiquitous, that is in everything. So we need, as well as we have already opportunistic encryption on everything from email protocols to web browsing today, we need opportunistic anonymity. Because the one thing that the intelligence service and police agencies and oppression regimes of this planet really thrive on are traffic data. Data, who talks to whom, at what point and what volume. So that is the information that is really important. If you look, for instance, at what came out now with the recent NSA scandals in the US, where it came out that the NSA was actively encouraging US telecommunication companies to funnel enough or more traffic through US switches so that the NSA could see all the traffic data and look for who has interesting communications patterns to then selectively tap these circuits. That's how they work. That's the basic mode of operation. So, and from that, we need anonymity. Comes the next rule. It's don't compromise your friends with your stupidity. So if somebody chooses to act anonymously and you happen to know who he is, then respect his decision. If he really wants to act only under a well-chosen and well-protected screen name, then respect that, even if you know his real name. So, and don't compromise him by being sloppy with your encryption. So encryption works only if every party in the communication really cares for that. And caring for that is even more important now because everything is on file. So everything that you communicate today must be suspected to be on file for the next eternity. So everything that you do today matters for the rest of your life. And that's the mindset that you need to act on. So, as I said, anonymity may become even more important than content security, because that's the only way to get around getting suspicion upon you.
If we build such technology, if such technology is deployed, they will try to make that technology look like it's only useful for terrorists, it's only useful for child pornographers, it's only useful for criminals, it's only useful for money launderers, and we need to come up with positive stories. These positive stories need to get lots of attention. The human rights activists that use it, the environmental activists that use it, the cancer patient that needs the anonymity. These cases are real. There are people being fired for what they say on weblogs about their employers. There are whistleblowers. We just need to find them, and we just need to make sure that the anonymity and the cryptography technology that was part of the story becomes part of the story. Or if it wasn't part of the story, then it should be part of the story that it should have been. Another thing is to arm yourself. We know the technology, we know the surveillance infrastructure, we know how it works. Find out more. Tell other people more.
Yeah, one a bit uncomfortable reality is that a lot of us have basically sold their head. So a lot of us work now on the other side because after the bubble bursted, the really cool jobs that were not really ethically critical became a bit scarce. So
come to the dark side, Luke.
So, and if it's not really the dark side, then maybe it's just gray or dark gray, grayish. So, and sometimes you realize only after a while what the technology that you're building on is really good for. So, like video surveillance is something here that reduces criminality in here and there, or some new fancy algorithm for database searches might be good to optimize the SIP records, but also might be good for something entirely different. So we have actually quite a number of friends that work on the dark side now. And some of them have lost contact, have not contacted us anymore, or ceased to talk about what they're doing at work because they have signed NDAs and stuff like that. And we need to break that. We need to talk to them again. We need to know what's going on there. We need to know precisely what the systems are capable of today, what they will be capable of tomorrow, and where the loopholes are. Because not getting caught is the real 50% of the mission now. Not getting caught, because we are too few to allow many of us getting caught. So we need to talk to them. We need to find ways to get onto their information. We need to enable people to anonymously submit information to us, to get stuff to us that gets published. We need to be able to clean this information from any watermarking. We need to support people who stick out their neck like John Young with Cryptome, that publish stuff and say, okay, I don't care, so sue me. We need more of them, because these are the few light poles that will